So now what we got is cut straight in from this line and straight in from that line, so we end up with a square cut out basically. This was I think it was the blue square that I drew in first last night in the picture that you got. And now all we'll do is from down here approximate water lines, and this is just freehanding it. It's just a point to round to. Now we're going to round from here up to here. So from this line to that line we're going to round. Now I'm going to leave it a little more bulbous up top here than it is down here, so it's going to be real gradual and then more sharp up here. So it's going to be real gradual from here, and then as I get up here it's going to be more in, and that's just because I want really round bulbous looking side pockets. And that's pretty much how I do that. And then I mean you're gonna come under here, and we're gonna cut the side pocket in here too, and around where the tail is gonna be. But this is just for the purpose of showing you how to get into side pockets. Everything else is done pretty much the same way. So if we draw the tail in here roughly, I'm gonna go do this off a pattern. But if you draw the tail in here, so the tail looks like this, then we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to cut straight in such that that line and that line meet through here. We're just going to take that out, and then we're going to round the rump and carve the tail out. So check back in. I have decided to wing this. It's not a bird that's going into competition. I've done this pattern or very similar pattern enough that I feel like I know where the stuff goes, so I'm just going to freehand it on here and then cut it in. It'll just save me some time of going to get the pattern, because I didn't bring it into here with me. So this is just going to be all roughed and freehanded in, and then I'll cut it in, and when it's all said and done it'll be fine. Nobody will be the wiser. I like to use pencils drawn on cork. I always try to take any marks I put on cork off before I paint it or before I seal it. But just in case I put a mark down and then I can't for some reason get the mark off without messing up the carving, I would rather that mark be out of pencil than pen or magic marker. Certain things I'll do with mount markers or pens. When I draw the side pockets on, a lot of times I like to draw those on with a ballpoint pen or a very fine tip Sharpie marker, because I want them to be pretty exact. So they leave a much thinner line than this big fat pencil does, or than a big fat Sharpie. I drew them with a Sharpie here for purposes of this, so you would be able to see them easier. So now we got the side pockets completely cut in, and I'm going to put a mark in here just because it's difficult to see things on raw cord. You can see how I got the side pocket cut in. Put a mark here to define it. The other thing this mark does is it lets me, that mark should never come away, because this is one of your low points in that cross section that I drew. This is one of the low points. So the other high point is roughly, I draw it as down here. It's really through here, but it is where it is, and certain things just are what they are, and they have to be that way, and I don't know any way to explain it. So, but basically that cross section is looking at the back of the bird, and you got low points here, high point here, high points in here. Get this where you can see it. You got low points here where my fingers are, and then you got high points in the center of the back. Ignore the thorns, but there's high points in the center of the back, and then there's a low point in the center of the bird. So there'd be a low point here, a high point somewhere in here, another one in there, low point, high point, and you're just rounding to all of those points. But now I've got the tail cut in, side pockets cut in. I'm turning the head on this bird, so I'm going to have some different stuff going on with the breast up here that I'm just going to have to wing kind of on the fly. So just kind of ignore work I do up here. Basically what you need to see is me round this and round this. Ignore the thorns. So now we've got the side pockets rounded for the most part, and they may still be a little blocky. You can still see flat edges in them here, and that stuff is left there on purpose. It'll come out eventually. You can take it all out now if you want to, I guess, but it's just the way I do it. Is I roughly get everything where I want it, and then I take off this stuff, these lines and these flat spots. Kind of one of the last things I do as I'm tidying everything up and cleaning everything up. So, and now you would just round the shoulders and the back the same way. We'll round out the rump. And because of the thorn feathers, there's going to be some stuff I'm going to leave undone. Or maybe I'll go get the pattern and draw them in and cut those in with the micromotor. But that's kind of the gist of it. And notice one other thing to pay attention to is that I use the Fordham, it's spinning this direction and it wants to go away from you because of that. So instead of trying to pull it to me, and what happens when you pull it to you is it'll want to dig in a lot of times. I just touch it and I let it go away, but I control how fast it goes away. So as it's going away, it's spinning faster than I'm moving it away. So you kind of control how much you're taking off that way, as opposed to trying to pull it to you, and you'll get it to dig in a lot of times. But it's one of those things that you learn to use the tool. I find that just allowing it to go away when it's wide open is the most efficient way to use it. For me, this way you just have more control over it than you do trying to bring it to you. And there are times when you bring it to you, but when you're doing detail work, trying to tidy stuff up, you want as much control as you can have. So, kind of a tip on how I like to use it. here for the tail, where the little triangle has to come out here for the tail, and I didn't cut it out, and I realize that now. The reason I realize that is because when I go cut this line in here, there's a big chunk here that it needs to come out. It needs to come out right there. So I'll just draw this in real quick, just for you to understand what I'm doing. So this is the edge of the tail where the tail is going to come out of the cork, so I got to cut that in and then just round it all out. Turn the dust collector back on. Another thing here is, if this, I've elected to use a cork tail on this, and I've been doing that quite a lot lately. It saves a step, saves wood from putting in a cork or wooden tail board, which you glue in. But if it was a wooden tail board, I would have the rump come out underneath here, and I would actually scallop the tail. I would take material from here to there away on the inside to make the tail roughly the same thickness, and that would allow you a better, the rump area under here would be finished much nicer than it is. It's kind of flat now. It's hard to see, hard to tell, but it would be much nicer and smooth, round, like a bird actually is. And another thing, I don't know if you noticed it, right through the side pockets, right through here, I was taking a little bit of material out in that line. And the reason for that is with the pattern that I used, I kind of rushed a pattern here and just took a top profile from another pattern, and that top profile was one of the patterns that was supposed to have the tertial feathers overlapping into the side pocket, so they were cut into the side pocket. So there was more meat left in here where the side pocket is with that pattern. So the the top profile here, this profile of the side pocket didn't cut in deep enough, so, and there's still a little bit more in there. I'm gonna go in and take that out, so I can get better roundness on this, and I'll just do some touch-up work, and then I'll figure out the head and breast and all that stuff. But I think for what you want, that's probably a lot of information. But you can see the roundness from here all the way down to like right here. And like I say, it's gonna get more round as I finish it. I don't want to take it off with the aggressive bits, so it'll get there though. So this has got to be, it's got to be pretty close to what I want. The top profile I used again is coming back to bite me in the butt, but I'll manage. So you can see when I switched to the green tool, which is not quite as aggressive as the orange one, I went in and did some final cleanup. Well, not final, but you know, I did some more cleanup work. So now all I have is one little tiny line left here on the edge, and that'll come out with a sander. I'm gonna go get my head, set my head on here, and see how I like the way the head and breast and stuff is turning out.